Hi everybody, welcome to week 1 of the Google Classroom class. I'm so excited that you're willing to give Google Classroom a look. It is one of my favorite tools when it comes to using Chromebooks and in the classroom. So what is Google Classroom? Real quick. I always look at Google Classroom as kind of the hub of activity when the students are on the devices. Let me show you. So for example, in this classroom, we've been talking about the Mexican Revolution. So the first thing you can see I've done here is that we've just got some resources. So when you have your websites or your games or your documents or your videos or whatever you want the kids to interact with, Google Classroom kind of serves as the place where the students go to find that stuff. So instead of them kind of searching and trying to find it on their own, we could load up these 3 things that we want the kids to see today. And that's such a nice way to keep your classroom kind of flowing. The second thing, and this is kind of the real exciting thing, is that the Google Classroom also allows you to send out assignments. So for example, you could see that we had a document in Google Docs about, kind of comparing different revolutions. Each student got their own copy. They were able to kind of complete the answers right there and then turn it in. And all of that is done through Google Classroom. So you don't have to worry about where's the file saved. You don't have to worry about naming protocols, all these little things that we used to worry about with computers. Google Classroom kind of cures that for us. All right, so let's go ahead and let me show you week 1. We're going to look at this. We're going to look at kind of how do you navigate around Google Classroom. And we're going to look at how do you create your own class. So as has become the accepted vocabulary on the internet, these 3 bars in the top left-hand corner allows you to open up the menu. So you can see the 3 dots is going to open up a menu. That's just been kind of the icon or graphic that's going to get you to a menu screen. So I went back to the main screen, so you can see I'm part of quite a few different classrooms. But for you to create a new classroom, what I want you to do is in the top right-hand corner, there's a little plus sign. Go ahead and join the class. Actually, let me backtrack for 1 second, because I haven't even told you how to get there. 2 ways that I usually get to Google Classroom. One is I just type the URL, classroom.google.com. That's one way to get there. Another way is to click on the Google Apps 9 boxes, and Google Classroom will be an option there. So if you're in your email and you want to get to Classroom quickly, you can click on those 9 boxes. Or you could just search for the phrase classroom.google.com. All right, so let's look at creating a class. Go ahead, and there's this plus sign in the top right-hand corner. I click on that. You can see you can get 2 options. You get the join class option or the create a class option. I'm going to go ahead and create a class. It'll ask you for the class name, which is a required field. Section and subject are up to you. Those are optional fields. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a training classroom. And then I go ahead and press create. So this will open up to the Stream tab. And the 3 different tabs from within the classroom that you could see are Stream, Students, and About. Stream is going to be where all the action happens. This is going to be where you're posting your resources. This is going to be where the students are coming to find their assignments and the resources. So this is going to be where you spend a majority of your time when you're in Google Classroom. Next week's activity will focus a lot on how to create assignments and announcements. Today we're just going to focus on the setup. So next week we'll really dive deep into the class stream, but for now we're going to focus on the creation. So the first thing you have to do, obviously make your class. Second thing you have to do is to add some students. So at the top of the screen here, I'm going to click on the Students tab. There are 2 ways that students can join your Google class. One is through the class code. So you can see there's a little class code right up here in the top left-hand corner. If your students are a little bit older and they're capable of kind of typing quickly and kind of navigating themselves, this might be a nice option for you. And how students do that is, if I go back to the main Google Classroom window, when I hit that plus sign, you see how I'm given 2 options to join or create a class. If I choose the join option, that's when I'm asked to type in that code. So if you want your students to join via the class code, you could actually display that nice and big on your screen, and the students would click on that plus sign, click on join class, and they would type in this class code. If your students are a little bit younger, or you want to kind of have everything all set up in advance for them, the second way you can invite students is through the Invite Students button. You can see right here that as you start typing people's email, if they are a part of your environment, your domain, like at wego33.org for us, that people, that email addresses will pop up. So obviously you could go there with your class list and just kind of type each student's name and then go ahead and add them. Another way that I like to invite students is this. We have that special Cognos report that you can run from eSchool, and a link to that, to the steps on how to do so, will be available in the description of this video. But what's nice is if you run that report, you can get a spreadsheet, like you can see here, a spreadsheet of all of your students and their emails and their passwords and all that jazz. So what's really cool is this. If you run that report, go ahead and select all of your students. So I went ahead, I clicked on the top email address, I went to the bottom, I pressed and held shift, clicked, and now I've got all my email addresses selected. I go ahead and copy those. If I go back to Classroom, if I click on Invite, and I go ahead and paste those, you can see that you can add your whole class real fast. So instead of having to type in each individual kids, or instead of them having to type the class code, if you download that report from Cognos, again, instructions are in the description. If you download that class or all of your classes from Cognos, you can go ahead and copy and paste the email addresses, right from there into your invite students. Now I've only got really one generic email that doesn't even exist in here, but all of your students would then be invited. This is a real nice way to quickly get all of your classes built, especially at the middle school level. So stream is what we're going to focus on next week. That's where all the activity happens. Students is how you kind of get it all started, right? Where you're inviting students and adding kids. One little thing I want to mention is if you look back at Google Classroom, let's hop into this class as our example, you can see that there are comments. Students can add comments, teachers can add comments. If you're a little bit concerned about students adding their own comments, in the Students tab, there, over here to the left, there's a little menu that allows you to kind of control what can happen in your Google Classroom. So if I only wanted teachers to have the ability to post or comment, this is how I would do that. So this means that it's me and only me that can type anything in those little comment boxes. Last little thing about navigating Google Classroom is the About tab. And the main reason why people come to the About tab is this little Invite Teachers over here to the left. I keep on going back to my example classroom. If you look at it, it's myself and another teacher in that classroom. So if you co-teach a class, or if you'd like to share your classroom with one of your colleagues to kind of show them how it works, for whatever reason you'd like to have a co-teacher, in the About tab, the Invite Teachers button here, and then you can go ahead and invite teachers who you work with to kind of check out your classroom and see the resources and stuff like that. This is a real nice way to increase collaboration, kind of quickly share and show your colleagues what you're doing. So let's do a real quick review. So to create a class, you click on that plus sign, go ahead and click Create Class. It's going to ask you for a class name, which is required. A subject and a section are optional when it comes to setting up your class. The first screen or first tab you will see is the Stream tab. This is where most of the action is going to happen. This is where you share your resources and the students see their assignments. For the sake of this week's activity, we're not going to spend much time in the Stream tab. We are going to spend a lot of time in the Students tab, because this is how you invite students to join your classroom. There are two main ways that people do that. One is that the students would type in your class code to join your class. The second way that people invite students into their class is to go ahead and type their email addresses here. If you run that Cognos report, remember you can copy and paste. That makes the process significantly faster. And remember you can control who's posting and who's commenting in the Stream tab right here from the Students tab. The last thing we looked at this week is the About tab, and the best part of the About tab is the ability to invite other teachers to join your classroom as a teacher. So the assignment for this week, what we'd like you to do is create a classroom, add your students, and then go ahead and invite us as a teacher, so that we can kind of co-teach, kind of keep an eye on how you're doing in your Google Classroom as we proceed through the weeks. Have a good one.